Good morning, Vande Mataram. Welcome all of you. The topic of discussion for this morning is on freedom, not an indulgence. Freedom, not an indulgence. That is the topic of discussion for this morning. It's a good topic because the freedom it is not necessarily discuss. We are not going to discuss about the physical freedom. What really we have achieved on 15th of August 1947, because that is not the freedom. We have been freed from the rule and from the reign of British force, but that is not really freedom. Freedom it is the inner freedom. Sri Aurobindo mother talks of. So this inner freedom, on that only we are going to have a discussion. Freedom, not an indulgence. Very interesting topic. Already Sri Aurobindo has quoted, we claim to be free, but actually we are not free. So, the mother quotes in the very first line, quoting the mother, you can be able to know what really the mother wishes to say. What really, how it is a pinching one. Very interesting because most of the time, we claim we are spiritual people. We are in the for a long run. We are in this study circle segment. So we are going for the spiritual progress. This adventure of consciousness is there for us. So we go in a very clean and pre-planned way. That's what is the mental phenomenon. But thing is that whether really this we have achieved the freedom for that, that is the topic to be discussed right now. We don't know. Most of the time we go in a very superficial way, not entering the true meaning what really the freedom really is meant. Mother quotes. Already I have quoted. This is a very pinching one. If you will be staying on the surface, actually, I think if you want to understand this first sentence itself, you will feel very shocked. So, if anyone imagines, that's what. If one that mother has used the term imagines that he can go over to the other side without passing through the stage of moral perfection. Morality is there. It is almost it is a chain full of ego, choke full of ego. So this moral perfection, moral and moral perfection, without through this stage of moral perfection, because I am a moral man. Normally, if he is moral, he will be packed with his ego. Passing through the stage of moral perfection, he would risk making the great mistake without moral perfection. If he is trying, imagining to cross the other side, he is risking and going through a great mistake and taking for perfect freedom the perfect weakness with regard to his lower nature. Perfect weakness has been taken by him with for the perfect freedom. Freedom, he claims. But the thing is that he is passing through only weakness and weakness and weakness because he is not that sure which way he is really moving. That is the technical and the tactical figure which has to be tackled. He must know with the weakness he is feeling that I am traveling all around the world. He is not have with this morality. He has become the moral man with this morality and with this, even without the perfection of morality, moral perfection, he is imagining that he is running to the other side, and there itself he is risking of taking the moral weakness and taking it for granted that this moral weakness he does not know, evaluate, even he is not aware of. But the thing is that he is misthinking this moral weakness for a moral freedom. That is shocking. And anyway, with a wrong, I'll tell 3 times I have told, with a wrong bus you are moving. Actually, it will never reach you in your destination. Suppose you want to go for Bhubaneswar, then you have to catch the Bhubaneswar bound bus. That is what. Instead of taking, suppose same company, same company is running the bus, that is one is bound to Bhubaneswar and another is also it is bound to Calcutta, but wrongly without reading, because somehow maybe you are in a busy schedule, you are catching the bus that is bound to Calcutta. How can you expect that Bhubaneswar will come? You will reach Bhubaneswar early in the morning. Early in the morning, when you feel that your people will be standing on the bus stand to welcome you, and at that time you, to your utter significance, to your utter trouble, you can find you are at Calcutta because wrong way you have tackled the bus, wrong bus you have cut. So like this, you have taken it for granted that moral weakness, perfect weakness, you have taken it for granted that this is perfect freedom. Where are you really landing? You will know, reach nowhere. So again, it is mother quotes again. It is almost impossible to pass from mental being. Impossible, almost impossible to pass from this mortal being. Even the most perfect and most remarkable mind, the sole cause of all trouble. As long as you are in the super surface of the mind and you are staying in the mind, definitely errors will be coming and hitting you like anything. So even the most perfect and most remarkable to be the true spiritual life without having realized the ideal of the moral perfection. You don't have, you only even that morality, that level also you have not touched, you have not reached. And the moral perfection, that is another another factor for you. And that time you feel that realization has not come, and still you claim that you will even you are most perfect, most remarkable. And with this mentality and mental phenomenon, it is very difficult to progress. So ideal moral perfection, if for a certain period of time, however brief it may be, so it is almost impossible to pass from mental being even the most perfect and most remarkable. Even most perfect and most remarkable that mental being, whatever may be, it is true, the to the true spiritual life without having realized this ideal of moral perfection for a certain period, however it may be. If it is that spiritual realization is not there, if you have not covered your mental mental degree or mental point, so impossible, you don't have the realization. Then with the ego only you are moving, and with the, in the ignorance only you are swimming, you are staying. So how can you expect that the thing will turn in your favor? Many people try to take a shortcut, and want to assert their inner freedom before having welcome all these weaknesses of the outer nature. Outer nature, it has got its error, it has got its lacuna, it has got its loopholes. You have not crossed that one, and how can you expect that the inner true inner freedom will come to them? And they are greater danger of deluding themselves. This is the type of what your mother quotes, and they are deluding themselves. This is a top of, this is a point of delusion. The true spiritual life, again mother quotes, the true spiritual life, complete freedom, and something much higher than the highest moral realization. That's what must be taken for granted. With the moral perfection, moral realization, that is required. You have to go for the, this is required to, it is a stepping stone to go forward. But if you think that is all, then you are gone. So this highest moral realization, higher than the highest realization, that is true spiritual life and a complete freedom. It is totally different, higher than the highest moral realization. But one must take care that so-called freedom, even if you think this is the freedom, so-called freedom is not an indulgence and a contempt for the rules. You must take it for granted that it is not an indulgence, but actually and contempt of the all rules. So what really someone has to do, that is very significant, that is very significant, I will try to say. You must be able to know really what really I have to do. One must go higher, always higher, higher, three times mother course. Go higher, always higher and higher. Nothing less than what is the highest of the humanity has achieved. Higher than the highest. Sometimes you were having on that advertisement was there, better than the best. I think it was something around Videocon or something, better than the best. So here mother explains this is the actually higher than the highest, higher than the highest, but the highest humanity has achieved. You have to go higher. Mother uses this term thrice. You must go higher, always higher and higher. Higher means where I have to reach. What is the point, apex? Nothing less than the highest the human has ever achieved. Have ever achieved. Till that point, you have to go higher and higher and higher. That is what the requirement you have. You must go. And the letter mother quotes, one must be capable of being spontaneously at all that humanity has conceived to the highest. Again, what happens? Humanity has conceived to be the highest. That point, but till now, humanity, not one or two, has conceived to be the highest. One must be capable of being spontaneously all. That is not the all. Sky is not limit. Sadhana is not limit. One time for you, for people, for the world, for the humanity, this Mukhya and Nibbana was all. But here in the course, that is not the goal of our work. Our this will come through the work, but actually it is not the goal. We need perfection. So, and the most beautiful, most perfect, highest, most beautiful, and most perfect, and the most disinterested, and the most, comprehensive. The best, mother quotes, before opening one's spiritual wings and looking at all with the above something which is still belongs to the individual self. That is what. Go higher. Then another term mother uses, another way mother tries to explain. One must be capable of spontaneously. We go there. What the humanity has ever conceived till date, whatever is been achieved by those. That point you must reach spontaneously, not out of impulsion or out of application of force. And the most beautiful, most most perfect, most disinterested, than the most comprehensive, the best. You have to reach all these things before opening one's spiritual working and looking at all from above something that is still belongs to the individual self. This ego, these confines, this limit must be crossed up, and you must know standing on the top, from the top only you can realize. In order to enter to the true spirituality, unless otherwise, no, how can you go? You know that condition is that the door must be open, but who is door? We think we are going on the way. It is raining. Somebody's main gate is open. Will rush into it. That is not the door yet it has been told. Or we came. Luckily, it was one bull was actually following me. He was trying to hit me like anything, hurt me. So that time actually I found that my big door is open, so I rushed in. That is not the criteria. That is not the factor. The inner door, it is told that must be open for which has no limit, which lives in the integral way, infinity and the eternity. So it is the integral way, infinity and the eternity. That point must be reached, and there you have to reach. That is what the required condition. And with this requirement only you have to go, because you have not yet reached the point, the apex, where really you are supposed to stand and supposed to reach. That is what the problem, that is what the lacuna, because true freedom was hunted and abhorred and hunted down. This freedom we have never reached. That is what the significant point. For that, actually, you must be prepared. And the Sri Aurobindo is having on liberation. He is having one nice talk. I will try to quote only one on liberation. Here in the quotes here, to be made oneself with God above, to be, what is that, true freedom? This, we are freed from the clutches of the English reign, English power, their reign, rules. That is freedom. Mother quotes, to be made oneself with God above and God in man and God in the world. Three ways. God above, God in man, and the third, God in the world is the sense of liberation and the sense of perfection. Two things. This is what only the divine, only the divine. How can we? The world is God fulfilled in outwardness and other course, share in the course. To be one in one, to be oneself with God above, number one. God in man, number two. God in the world, number three. Is the sense of liberation and the sense of perfection. That is has to be known. And this freedom, this inner freedom, that is what is the required. It will not end indulgence. Bande Mataram.